What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ben on Sports. I have your NFL Road to 100 weekly update, reviewing week 6, predicting week 7. Sorry, it's a little bit late. I was having some technological difficulties this week. So, in an effort to make it up to all the listeners, instead of being around an hour, I'll try my best. No guarantees, but I'll try my best to keep it around 45 minutes today because I'm getting it out so late. And I still want you to be able to listen to it before the Thursday night game if that is your prerogative. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off the week last week was Thursday Night Football I was going to say in New York, but it's really New Jersey, right? And the Giants, with one of the bigger surprises of the week, coming off of a bad loss the previous week where they gave the Saints their first win. The Giants come out at home and stomp the Eagles. Man, Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo look really, really good. Well, I'm not going to get carried away. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on Jackson Dart for the time being. Don't get mad at me, Giants fans. He's only made his third start, and his second career start, he lost to the Saints and had an awful game. This game was much better, however, without Malik Neighbors. This Eagles defense is definitely injured, definitely banged up. It's still an impressive win, nonetheless, especially because the Eagles are coming off a loss. You think they want to rebound. Picking up a big win at home for the Giants. The Eagles need to get healthy, and their offense needs to find consistency because it's been brutal for that offense. It's not like the Giants have a great defense and they were only able to manage 17. It was close most of the way, and then the Giants really, really pulled away late. Maybe this Giants team is finally succeeding to rebuild this roster. Only time will tell. Getting their second win of the week. Who did I pick? I did pick the Eagles, meaning I get a Thursday Night Football loss. Moving on to Sunday, 9:30 in the morning. What an interesting game. The Broncos defense is still elite. Big shocker, holding the Jets to really 9. They held them to 3 field goals. Remember, the Jets late in that game get a safety, score 2 points to take a 11-10 lead, and the Broncos were able to do just enough to kick a field goal, and their defense, as it has been all year, played fantastic. The Broncos need to find a consistent offense to be an elite team, but they're an elite defense with an offense that has the ability to be really good. And anytime you have an elite defense keeping you in games, you have a chance. This Jets team still looking for their first win of the season. Who did I pick in this game? I picked the Broncos, and I was terrified. This game was way closer than it probably should have been. Steelers and Browns, it was close most of the first half, and then the Steelers kind of slowly pulled away in the second half. I still don't love the Steelers offense. The Browns offense still struggling to get going, but now they're at least starting their rookie quarterback that they spent a pretty decently high draft pick on. The Steelers offense needs to find some consistency. I know this Browns defense is really good, but for the Steelers to reach the level they want to this year, they're going to have to score points more consistently. But they take care of business against a team they should have taken care of business against. They keep first place in their division. AFC North might be the Steelers to lose with all of the other slow starts and injuries at other places in this division. Still plenty of time left. Who did I pick? I did pick the Steelers at home coming off of a bye week. Let's keep it going on the 1 o'clock slate. The Saints hosting the Patriots. And Drake May is just fantastic. His stats would have been even better this game if it wasn't for some interesting penalty calls, I guess you could say. The Saints are still a tough team. I feel like the Saints play everybody close, regardless of quality of opponent. Well, all but one team close. The Saints team is able to hang tight, it seems. Kicked a lot of field goals. Again, that seems to be a theme for them this season. They kick a lot of field goals instead of getting touchdowns. That needs to change. But again, the Patriots looked good. The Patriots have a lot of winnable games left, and everybody that's complaining about their schedule, the NFL schedule is essentially set who you're playing years in advance. It's the same rotation every year. You can go right now and figure out who your opponents are going to be next season. They were a fourth-place team last year, guys. A fourth-place team is going to have an easy schedule, and then next year, if they finish first or second, which seems very likely with who their division is, they'll get a harder schedule. But they can't control that the Jets and Dolphins are really, really bad this year. They can't control the fact that their turn in their rotation is the NFC South, which means they play the Panthers and the Saints, et cetera, et cetera. They're playing all the fourth place teams, right? Like, I hate people that complain about schedules because schedules are built so the teams that finish first have the tougher schedules and the teams that finish last have the easier schedules. It's always been that way. Sometimes you get lucky with how the schedule works out. Sometimes you don't. It doesn't make sense to complain about something because it's literally not something that can be rigged when it's the same formula every year. One more thing on this game and the Patriots. I do think the Patriots looking pretty good for a playoff performance. I still think there are going to be one or two slip ups for a young team, but I am not ready to call myself right because it's way too early into their careers. I hate when people overreact early, whether it's good or bad. I would like to point out, though, that going into the draft, and if you followed me long enough, you know that I thought Drake May was the best quarterback in this draft class. And they got him third overall instead of first or second. Now, Jane Daniels led his team to the playoffs last year, so it's still to be determined. But it is not surprising me, at least, that Drake May is performing really well. And he's not the only one from the 2024 draft class of quarterbacks. Who did I pick to win this game? I did have the Patriots winning. Ravens and Rams. Not a lot to say. This game was off to the Ravens. At least finally showed up defensively. Puka Nacua did get hurt during this game for the Rams. That has potential to be a big loss. Ravens obviously on a backup quarterback. The Rams did what they should have against the backup quarterback. They put in the second half. They eventually pulled away. Didn't let the Ravens score. Not a whole lot else to say. Two teams heading in opposite directions early in the season. Ravens still have time to rebound, in my opinion, with their schedule. But I did pick the Rams to win. I feel like as most people did. 1 o'clock slate so far. I'm doing a great job after this 1 o'clock slate. Let's see if I can keep it up because if you have been here for the previous episodes, you know that I need it. Cardinals and Colts. Cardinals with a backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, hung in there, had the lead at times in this game, hung in there, had a chance to win late, but the Colts were able to escape. This Cardinals team is just so hot and cold. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're really bad. Sometimes they play against a really good team and they play them really close. Sometimes they play down to bad competition. It's hard to get a read on this Cardinals team. The Colts obviously off to a super hot start. The current number one seed in the AFC. We'll see how long that lasts. But picking up a win over a Cardinals team that maybe is good, maybe isn't, I don't know, but they were on a backup quarterback and they still scored 27. Who did I pick? I did pick the Colts. Dolphins and Chargers, and the Dolphins defense disappointed once again. They are quite literally on pace to be the worst defense in the history of the NFL, at least in the modern history, and it showed again. Miami, Tua did have 3 interceptions. Justin Herbert definitely outplayed Tua, but Tua did, one of his interceptions was not his fault. If you saw the Jalen Waddle one was just a really weird play at the end of the game where you can't throw an interception, but it was also like they had to go 70 yards for a touchdown, and I don't think it was going to necessarily be a Miami miracle. Did throw one bad interception with throwing it behind a receiver. Tua just too much uneven play, especially for somebody making as much money as he is. But again, still scored 14 straight points to take the lead by 1 over the Chargers. Miami did miss a field goal that would end up being the difference. But at the end of the day, this Chargers offensive line was super banged up. A lot of backups. I think even a third stringer. The running back room was depleted. Miami's defensive line was healthy. They were missing one linebacker, but the defensive line was healthy, and they pretty much just sucked. Like, Miami's defensive line is so bad, and if you can't stop the run and your defensive line can't stop anything, the offense is going to stay ahead of the sticks. The offense is going to stay on schedule, and it makes your pass defense harder to play because they don't need 15 yards, and it's hard to go rush the quarterback. So this Miami defense is really bad. Justin Herbert did a great job taking advantage. Vidal, the third string running back, did a great job taking the holes the offense got him. And the Chargers, after blowing a 2-touchdown lead, kick a field goal very late in the game to win it. Miami falls to 1-5. The Chargers move to 4-2. Sorry for all the Miami fans out there. I think they're down bad than any other franchise. I feel like Miami's getting it from the national media this season, rightfully so. And remember last year when I had bad luck, right? I had bad luck teams of the week or teams with the worst luck of the season so far. Miami, it's not that time of year yet, and I don't know if I'm going to do it yet or not, but Miami is certainly in contention for that. But at the same time, can you have bad luck? Yes, you have the Tyreek Hill injury, but outside of that, can you have bad luck because your team makes mistakes at critical junctures? That's not bad luck. That's just not performing well, right? And Miami, I mean, if you go back and watch their games, the only game that they were absolutely blown out in was the first one against the Colts, and other than that, they could very easily be 5-1, and instead they are 1-5. Miami this season, perfect example of why late game execution is so essential because they haven't had it all year, and if they did, they could be 5-1, 4-2, right in the thick of their division and the playoff race. Chargers still treading water, which is an important thing with how many injuries they've had. I've spent too much time on this game. Who did I pick to win? I did pick the Chargers, and I escaped with a win. Moving on in the 1 o'clock slate, the Jaguars can't complete another fourth quarter comeback against a good team, against the Seahawks. Seahawks hold on to win this one. Jacksonville only putting up 12 points. Who did I pick to win this game? I did pick Jacksonville. And guys, what did I say last week? I have to go with my gut. And what did I do this week? I've said when I was picking this game, this is the game I'm going to go against my gut, and I'm going to pick the Jaguars over the Seahawks, even though I think the Seahawks are better. And I laid out my reasons after giving a long speech about why I need to go with my gut, and I still didn't do it. That's on me, guys. I knew I should have picked the Seahawks, and I didn't, and it gives me my second loss of the week by not picking them. My bad. I will do better next week, or this week at this point. Panthers and Cowboys, and the Panthers at home are just an elite offense. Apparently, they're comeback kids. Panthers with a comeback 30-27 win over the Cowboys after a comeback win against the Dolphins the week prior. Cowboys pick up another loss. The Panthers are all of a sudden 3-3 and kind of in the playoff mix. And I think the Panthers, as I said at the beginning of the season, I thought that they had some tough games, but I also said that they're going to be better than I think people realize. Now, they haven't beaten a lot of good teams. Their best win is the Falcons at home, and they haven't won a road game yet, but they're still performing well. It's in a year that has been absolute chaos. Being at 3-3 puts you right in the thick of things. Cowboys have been the same team all year. Best offense in the league, worst defense in the league. And at some point, your defense has to get stops to win at the highest level, and the Cowboys can't do that. They can score, but they can't get stops, and that has been killing them all year. Who did I pick? I did think the Cowboys would be able to score enough to run away. They did not. I pick up my third loss. Raiders and Titans, not much to say. This was my toilet bowl game of the week last week, my game between two bad teams that you shouldn't watch, and the Raiders pick up a 20-10 win at home. Titans still searching for offensive consistency. Can't find it. It's between them and the Browns for the worst offense in the league. Raiders got enough stops, scored enough points to get the win, as I thought they would because I picked them to win, and I was correct. And as you can see, I did spoil it here. The Buccaneers keep sustaining injury after injury. The 49ers they're arguably the two most injured teams in the NFL. They both have high aspirations for this season. Buccaneers win 30-19. Baker Mayfield is looking like an early MVP candidate, carrying that offense even with all the injuries to the wide receiver room and the running back room, still winning against a quality opponent by 11 points, doing whatever it took. Buccaneers pick up the win, and I pick up the win as well. The Packers and the Bengals, not a lot to say. Bengals kept it close, kept it within 9. Kind of came back, I would say, a little bit at the end. Joe Flacco did not beat the Packers for the second time this season, but with a different team. The defense, honestly, holding Green Bay to less than 30 is a little bit better than I would expect them to do. I expect to see Flacco to continue to grow chemistry with Higgins and Chase. Can Flacco win enough games where Burrow can come back and have a real shot at the playoffs is the question. Green Bay, I think that they have all the potential in the world, but they need to find some consistency. But Green Bay picks up a win, gets their third win of the season, and is now 3-1-1. Who did I pick? I did pick the Packers. Moving into Sunday night football, and I'm going to do some spoiling. I may not have done well the rest of the way here with primetime. Kansas City picking up a 30-17 win. The defense for Kansas City, it might be back. This is not an easy Lions offense to stop. The Kansas City offense got going against a pretty good Lions defense, and now they get Rashee Rice, their number one wide receiver, back. Kansas City, after some early struggles, some early up and down plays, they might officially be all the way back, guys. Look out. And I am a clown putting my clown makeup on. I was asking, how are the Lions not favored? They've been playing better all year. Vegas obviously knows more than I do. Vegas should usually know more. Kansas City putting up points on the Lions. I don't know if this game was quite this big of a deficit, but Kansas City was clearly the better team, picking up the win over the Lions. And as you can probably imagine, I had the Lions based off my comment, giving me another loss. We're still okay. That's still only 4 losses out of 15 games. I'm currently sitting at 9-4 if you're keeping track. I can still finish 11-4, which is a solid enough week to not get me even further off the pace that I need to achieve my goal. What happens with the Monday Night Football doubleheader? The Falcons upsetting the Bills 24-14. Josh Allen kind of on a cold stretch, not having his best games. Not definitely not MVP Josh Allen from last season. The Bills had a chance late to tie it up, and they had a chance late to at least score a touchdown, and then Allen throws the game away. Just a rough game from Josh Allen and the Bills offense. I feel like the defense did enough, especially with their injuries. You would like to think that the Bills can go out there and get you points, but this Atlanta pass defense is the best pass defense in the NFL, second best pass defense in the NFL. They are elite at stopping the pass. And it certainly seemed that was the case for the Bills this weekend. Bills had a rough game, pick up a loss, and are now second in their division behind the Patriots. Falcons able to keep course, stay kind of close behind the Buccaneers, and stay close in the early wild card race in the NFC. Who did I pick? I did think the Bills were going to win this game on the road. And the last Monday Night Football game, the Bears kicking a field goal as time expires to beat the Commanders in a battle of last year's number 1 and number 2 picks. This DC offense, I feel like, is a little bit spotty. They love to run the ball. They should continue to run the ball first, but they have to be more consistent in the pass game. And the Commanders' defense is sometimes a little bit too streaky. I don't think this, so far, is the same Commanders team everybody was expecting from last year. I believe starting the year, I said this Commanders team might still make the playoffs, but I wouldn't expect them to be the same team they were last year. So far, that's looking right. This Bears passing offense looks like it's continuing to find itself, which is only a good sign. Has a team ever won 2 back-to-back games 25-24? Because the Bears just did it. They were separated by a bye week, but the Bears' last 2 games have been 25-24 wins, which I find incredibly interesting and incredibly strange. Both times kicking a field goal. Well, no, one they kicked the field goal as time expired. That was this one, and the last one, I guess, they blocked the field goal as time expired to win the game. Who did I have? I did have the Commanders winning this one in a narrow one, which means if you put the pieces together, I finished week 6 9-6. Another bad week, guys. My overall record is 58-34-1. As you can see there, that equates to a roughly 63% win percentage. The goal this year is 75, which means we are 12% behind pace. A lot of games behind pace. I'm behind pace of last season's finish. I went 192-80 last season and finished with a 70% correct win rate, right? A 70% correct pick rate. That isn't, I think, pretty high. And a third of the way through the season, I am very behind schedule. The first 3 weeks weren't awful. I was only 3 games behind schedule, still plenty to go. And then this next chunk of 3 games, I have really struggled. The first third of the season, I'm behind schedule. I need to get on a hot streak, and I need to do it fast. If I'm able to replicate what I did last year, I had a kind of a rough start last year. Kind of a similar thing where like weeks 3 through 5, 3 through 6, 3 through 7, I wasn't the best. But then I finished the season super hot. I'm going to have to finish the season really hot again because as you can see, I'm really behind pace and I'm starting to doubt whether or not there's enough time left for me to make it up. I'm going to have a lot of I'm going to have to average out to a lot of like 14 in 2 weeks, which is not easy. With the bye weeks, it's a 12 and 2 1 week or a 13 and 2 1 week. And then when the games start coming back, it's 13 and 3. I don't want to have to put myself in a situation where I need to go 15 and 1, 16 and 0. That is incredibly hard. It's never easy, right, to pick games in the NFL. Everybody's getting paid, everybody's professional. But I'm running out of time to get this turned around. And I want you guys to put in the comments below if you think I can do it or not, because I'm starting to doubt myself. I'm still trying. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up until it's impossible, until it is mathematically impossible for me to get there. Then maybe I'll ask for your guys' suggestions on how to readjust the goal for the season. But I'm not to that point yet. There's still 2/3 of the season left. That's plenty of time to get it turned around, no matter how bad it is looking. And that's a message to all of you NFL teams out there struggling. You should think the same thing. Without further ado, let's get in to my Week 7 predictions to see if I can get this turned around. Thursday night football from Cincinnati this week, an NFC North rivalry matchup. The Bengals and the Steelers. Steelers are favored on the road by 4.5. Let's get into it. Bengals key to the game here. I think they got to let it fly with Flacco. This rushing offense has been kind of bad, guys. It's been pretty bad this year, and their offensive line is struggling. If they need to keep Flacco upright, which is another point here, but if they can keep Flacco upright, they just need to let it rip. Joe Flacco is a veteran quarterback. He's never been afraid to be, that kind of gunslinger, rip it. You have two elite wide receivers in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. You have a couple backs that can catch it off out of the backfield. You have a good slot/third option in Iasovis. You still have some weapons at tight end. Just at this point, I never actually want a team to go one-dimensional, but for the Bengals, maybe that's what they need to do on offense and just let Flacco rip it to all of the elite weapons he has, all the good weapons he has. But in order to do that, they need to keep him upright, which, your starting quarterback is hurt and has taken a lot of hits in his career because you can't keep him upright. So they're going to need to play. The offense line is going to have to play a lot better this week. And defense needs to get stops against an inconsistent offense. The Steelers' offense has not been great. It hasn't been that consistent. It's maybe, an average to slightly below average offense on the year. And if this Bengals defense is ever going to get it turned around, maybe this is a good point to start it. You're at home on a short week against the Steelers. I think they should be able to get the defense turned around. Don't make your offense have to score a whole bunch because they've had to all year, and that's a lot of stress. If you're the Steelers, TJ Watt needs to get after Flacco. The offensive line is bad. I was just talking about it. TJ Watt, go get Flacco. Keep him on his back. They can't run the ball very well. That's a good way to make sure they don't score points. Force some turnovers. Flacco has been a little bit turnover prone this year. I think the Cincinnati offense in whole can be a little bit turnover prone, whether it's fumbles or interceptions. So get pressure on the quarterback, force turnovers defensively, and then offense, find some consistency/identity. I still don't know if they necessarily know if they want to be a run team or a pass team. I just think that they're still lacking identity and it's hurting their consistency. Maybe against a bad defense, even if it is on the road against a division rival, the Steelers can find that this week. Who do I think wins this game? I do have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another international game from Wembley Stadium at London, Jacksonville, who feels like they're always overseas playing home, or I was going to say home, nobody's really at home, but I guess Jacksonville's technically the home team, against the Los Angeles Rams. Rams, I think, were smart, practiced in Baltimore at Camden Yards this week, so they don't have to go all the way back to LA from Baltimore and then go all the way to London, just staying in Baltimore, cutting that flight time by quite a bit. Rams are 3.5-point favorites. Let's get into it. If you're Jacksonville, I think you need to find consistent offense. I think this offense has a tendency to just disappear and go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Oh, now we're going to score 3 and out. Jacksonville needs to find consistency on the offensive end, or they're going to continue to put their defense in difficult situations. They need to not trail early. They've trailed early so much this year. They haven't always been able to come back. Last week is a perfect example. They find some offensive consistency where they're not trailing by so much all the time. I think this team can be pretty good. And they need a better pass defense. Their rush defense has been pretty darn good. And I don't care if Puka Nacua doesn't play. Matt Stafford is still a great quarterback. They still have weapons in the pass game. They need to have a better pass defense. Obviously, don't hurt your rush defense because your rush defense has been good all year. But better pass defense and I think the Rams have some trouble moving the ball. If you're the Rams, take advantage of that bad pass defense. I don't care if Puka's not healthy. You still got Devontae Adams. You still have Matthew Stafford. The Rams should still be able to pass the ball. They have a great passing offense. They're playing a bad passing defense. Figure it out. They need a good pass defense against Jacksonville. I think if you can shut down the Jacksonville passing offense, make them run the ball a little bit, it's going to make them continue to struggle to find consistency, hurt this offense a little bit, take away that pass game of Jacksonville. And for the Rams, one big thing that they have struggled with this year, they're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They have a very low touchdown red zone percentage. They need to score touchdowns instead of field goals. Really put the pressure on Jacksonville to do the same. That's also going to help you score more points against an inconsistent offense. Who do I have winning this game? I do have the Rams. Sunday, the Chiefs playing at the rare 1 o'clock game at home, the biggest favorites of the week at 12.5 against the Raiders. Keys to the game for the Chiefs: get Rice acclimated. Rashee Rice is back from his 6-game suspension. The offense has started to click. Rashee Rice is coming back as in what I think is your true number one wide receiver. Get him acclimated for the rest of the season. Keep this offensive momentum going. You would like to think plugging him in hopefully doesn't hurt too much. Sometimes guys coming back can throw off the rhythm a little bit, but I think the Chiefs should be okay with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And defense needs to stop the run game. This Chiefs passing defense has been good all year. The rush defense has been a little bit shaky. The Raiders would rather run the ball because Geno Smith is not consistent and has thrown a lot of interceptions this year. You got a Sean Genty early in the draft. The Raiders are going to want to run it. If you're the Chiefs, don't let them. And if you're the Raiders, stay ahead of the sticks. Even if you are getting a third down, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Stay ahead of the sticks. Stay on schedule. That way, the Chiefs can't sit on you having to pass the ball, and that's where I think bad things will happen for the Raiders offense. Convert on red zone opportunities. The Raiders are one of the worst teams in the NFL at scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They're going to have to score touchdowns against Kansas City. Kansas City is fine playing bend, don't break defense. The Raiders have to score touchdowns. They're probably not going to get too many opportunities. You got to make them count when you get them. And that pass defense needs to step up. Their rush defense for Las Vegas has been quite good this season, but the pass defense has not. The pass defense or passing offense for Kansas City kind of found a rhythm last week. They're bringing back a number one wide receiver. Pass defense needs to step up because this rush defense should make it at least a little bit more difficult for Kansas City to run the ball. Who do I have winning this game? This game is pretty chalk to me. Give me the Chiefs. From Nissan Stadium in Nashville, the Titans are hosting the Patriots. The Patriots are 6.5-point road favorites in a similar situation as they were in last week. Let's get into it. The Titans, put it in Cam Ward's hands. The Patriots' rush defense is fantastic. Their pass defense, not so great. This Tennessee offense is one of the 2 worst in the NFL by a long shot. They want to have a chance at scoring this week. I think they're going to have to put it in Cam Ward's hands and air it out a little bit. They need a better red zone conversion rate. There's been a lot of times this year where Tennessee's kicking field goal after field goal. I haven't talked about red zone a lot in a lot of these keys to the games. You're probably noticing a theme this week. A lot of teams, man, kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, it will kill your team every single week if you keep letting it happen. Red zone is so important both on defense and on offense. The Titans need to figure out how to convert for touchdowns instead of field goals. And if you're the Titans, they actually probably the thing they do better than anything else is force turnovers and win the turnover margin. They're going to have to force some turnovers this week, or this Patriots offense is going to keep leaning on them, and it's going to lead to points. And it's going to make it harder and harder on their offense. They need to force some turnovers, maybe get some plus field position out of it. If you're the Patriots, have an all-around offensive approach. This Tennessee defense is kind of average, a little bit below average. It's not great. Don't fall in love with passing the ball. Don't fall in love with running the ball. Patriots, I think, need to figure out what running back they like. Is it the rookie? Is it Stevenson, even with his fumbling problems? Just have an all-around offensive approach. Even with a good-looking young quarterback, you still don't want your young quarterback to have to rescue you every single game, in my opinion. So maybe this is a week the Patriots find a way to get the run game going and don't put it all on Drake May's shoulders. Make them have to run it at you. Again, your run defense has been great. Their offense is not good, whether it's rush or pass. So don't let them do what you have had trouble stopping, which is pass. Take away the pass, make them run it at you. They struggle to run the ball. You're good at stopping the run. It's that simple to being successful in defense. They also need to have better red zone defense. The Patriots are giving up a pretty high percentage of red zone scoring in terms of touchdowns and field goals. They're giving up a lot of touchdowns. They need to have better red zone defense. Make the team kick field goals instead of score touchdowns when they get down there, and it takes pressure off your offense. Kind of kills momentum sometimes for the other team, and the Titans aren't very good at it. So I look for the Patriots to have some better red zone defense this week. My toilet bowl game of the week. This one's pretty self-explanatory as to why. Two of the worst teams in the NFL, two of the worst records in the NFL. Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland. Browns hosting the Dolphins. And it's going to be Brown in more ways than one this week in Cleveland. If you're Cleveland, take advantage of a bad offensive line and run the ball early and often. It doesn't matter what running back it is, what offensive line it is. This Miami defense just lets everybody gash them on the ground. If you are the Browns with a young rookie quarterback, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Take all the pressure off your rookie. Miami will give you first downs. This Miami defense is really bad, in my opinion, stopping the run. They're average to slightly below average at the pass, but I think a better run defense will help your pass defense. Just take advantage of a bad offensive line and get the run game going, and then keep Tua uncomfortable. You have maybe the best pass rusher, definitely one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, in Myles Garrett. The Dolphins' offensive line is not very good. Keep Tua uncomfortable. I don't know if Miami's going to be able to run the ball very well. This Cleveland defense is really, really good. If Cleveland can keep the pressure on Tua, Tua will get mistake prone, and it'll make your whole day easier. If you're the Dolphins, you got to get tougher everywhere. I feel like this team is soft in the trenches. They have a couple of good pass rushers, but they're not very good in the run game. And on the offensive line, they have one tackle who's playing really well this year, a center that's pretty good, but then they have a struggling rookie and backups. They need to get tougher in the trenches. The trenches are the most important part on the football field. They're not consistent running the ball. They give up a lot of pressure, which is why Tua has to throw so quick all the time, and that's what leads to mistakes. And their defense just flat out isn't tough either because they can't stop the run. They're not getting consistent penetration, even against bad offensive lines. They just need to get tougher as a team, both physically and mentally. Offensive line needs a step forward. It's going to be a long day if this offensive line gets dominated, and they get dominated frequently. Miami's going to have a lot of trouble scoring and having consistent momentum if that's the case. This offensive line needs to step up and have a good day for the Dolphins to be successful. And then key number 3, make the rookie quarterback have to beat you. I've talked a lot about the weak line, especially on the defensive side for Miami. You don't want to let the Browns be able to just run the ball, beat the clock, take the air out of the ball, and keep the defense rested. Make the rookie quarterback beat you. Your pass defense has been better than your rush defense. Keep the Browns behind the sticks. Make the young quarterback have to win them the game. Don't let it be easy by letting them gash you on the ground. Who do I think wins this game? I do think Cleveland's toughness in the trenches wins out. 1 o'clock, MetLife Stadium. Jets still looking for their first win of the season, and they are 1.5-point underdogs to the 3-3 Panthers. Let's get into it. If you're the Jets, force more turnovers. They forced 1 turnover all season. That's not going to cut it. This Panthers offense will sometimes turn the ball over, especially Bryce Young. Force some turnovers. Maybe it gets you some momentum and gets your offense going early. They need to develop a pass game. The Jets have the worst passing offense in the league. Not like it is bottom, number 32. The worst passing offense in the league. They have to develop some form of a passing game, whether it's taking Justin Fields out. They have a good run game, but if you can't throw the ball, people are going to keep sitting on the run, even if it is your quarterback scrambling. At some point, the Jets need to develop a pass game. I love Garrett Wilson. He's a great wide receiver. It needs to be somebody else. Garrett Wilson, he's going to be there. What he can do. It needs to be somebody else to take the pressure off him. Jets have to develop a pass game, especially this week. And then they need to take the run game away from the Panthers. The Jets' rushing defense has not been great. Their passing defense has been good, but their rushing defense has not been. Rico Dowdle has had insane back-to-back games for the Panthers. The Panthers would love to just sit there and run the ball all game. They're going to try it. Jets have to take that away, cover up that weakness, and make the Panthers throw the ball. And the Panthers, they need to keep running it. They've done it really well the last 2 weeks. Even if it's been against bad rush defenses, they're facing another one this week. Keep running the ball. Get Bryce Young off the better starts. I feel like the last couple weeks they're winning, but they're getting behind early, partially because Bryce Young keeps starting slow. And then after he starts slow, he plays really, really well the rest of the game. See if you can get Bryce Young off to a better start and get that really good version of him the entire game. That way you're not fighting from behind, because fighting from behind every game is not a recipe for success. And strong run defense shows up. The Jets want to run the ball. If you include in the quarterback run, they're one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. Very good rushing offense, but they cannot throw the ball. They need to have a strong run defense show up. The Panthers have been weak in the pass defense, but they've been strong in the rush defense. So it's kind of weakness against weakness and strength against strength. Don't let the Jets get their preferred method of offense. Don't let them run the ball. Take it away this week. I think the Jets could very well get their first win this week. I'm torn on this game. I think the Panthers are probably the better overall team, but they have not yet won a game on the road. All three of their wins are at home. And my gut told me to pick the Jets. I think this is fun. I think the Jets are better than a winless team. This has just been a crazy NFL season. I think the Jets pick up their first win at home for their first win of the season at home, join a plethora of other one-win teams. The Jets have got to be looking at this as a good opportunity to get that first win. And I think that they find enough to do it, and they put together a complete game for the first time all season to get there. I'll take the Jets for now. Another 1:00 game. The Bears hosting the Saints at Soldier Field in Chicago. Bears 4.5-point favorites. Not a lot to say about this one. If you're the Bears, continue to get momentum in the pass game. I feel like this year it's really beginning to develop. Probably helpful to have Ben Johnson there. Continue to get this pass game moving. Win the turnover differential. The Bears have been very good at it all year. They need to continue to do it, and they have to stop the run. The Saints want to run the ball. The Bears have had a decent run defense, a little bit shaky pass defense, but stop the run. That's what the Saints want to do. Their quarterback play has been far below average this year. Stop the run first. Make the Saints beat you with struggling quarterback play. If you're the Saints, limit penalties. They've been a little bit too penalized, in my opinion. Have to limit the penalties to have a chance this weekend. They need touchdowns, not field goals in the red zone. They kick a lot of field goals in the red zone. They don't score a lot of touchdowns. Even when they're not in the red zone, you're still kicking field goals. They need touchdowns instead of field goals. It is so of vital importance, as you've already heard me say. And run the ball early and often. I misspoke when I was talking about the Bears. Bears are the good pass. Sorry, I read my notes wrong. The Bears have a good pass defense, but a weak run defense. So if you're the Saints and you like to run the ball, run it early, run it often. You would like to think that your advantage in this game is running the ball against a weak Bears defense, which is why the Bears defense has to stop it. You don't want your quarterback to have to win you the game if you're the Saints. They haven't really been able to do that this year. See if you can get that run game going if you're the Saints. I think this game is a lot closer than people think it's going to be. If the Saints were at home, I would pick them to win this game, but it's in Chicago. Give me the Bears to win a game that I think is going to be much closer than people may realize. Another 1:00 game, another top 5 game of the week, as you can see by the star there. The Vikings hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Keys to the game. If you're the Vikings, limit penalties. They're one of the more penalized teams in the NFL. They have got to stop committing penalties. You can't beat elite teams or even good teams committing a lot of penalties. Successful pass game, regardless of quarterback. This Eagles passing defense has not been very good. They're banged up in the secondary. I mean, you got a lot of good passing options, a lot of good receiving options. You got to be able to throw the ball successfully against a defense that's not good at it and is banged up. Find success in the passing game and then shut down the run game for the Eagles. The Vikings have one of the best defenses in the league. They have I think, a top 2 passing defense in the league. The run defense isn't bad, but it's definitely the weaker of the two. If they can shut down the Eagles and make them throw the ball, an Eagles team that struggles to throw the ball, at least so far this season, I think the Vikings can really, really hold down this Eagles offense. If you're the Eagles, you have got to start with a run game. As I just said, the Vikings, their weakness on defense, they don't have a lot. It's a very good defense, but they're a little bit easier to get in the run game than the pass game. Start with the run game and try to get it going. Make the Vikings a run-first team. As they're not a very good running team, like on offense. They don't have a very good run game. Shut down the run game or make them a run first team, right? Take away the pass. That's where they're successful. That's where you're weak. Find a way to send guys and take away their passing offense, make them do what they don't want to do, and kind of struggle to do to beat you, because I think the Eagles' defense has an advantage in stopping the run. They don't have the advantage in stopping the pass. And win the battles in the red zone. One thing the Eagles have done so well this season, and arguably why they have won some of their games, is they're so successful on both ends of the ball in the red zone. They're good at converting touchdowns on offense and stopping touchdowns on defense. They're going to need to continue to have that same success this week against the Vikings. I don't know who to pick this game. I want to pick the Eagles, but they just have been kind of playing blah. Um, for me, it kind of partially depends on who starts at quarterback, but I think I'm going to go with the Vikings, assuming JJ McCarthy starts, who's kind of up in there. I like the Vikings defense to give the Eagles offense trouble. I think this game could be a little bit low scoring. I'm going to tentatively say the Vikings, but I'm going to put an asterisk there because if Carson Wentz starts, I don't know if I'm going to be confident in that anymore. Into the 4 o'clock slate, the Chargers hosting the Colts in a battle of playoff teams, a top 5 game of the week. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites at home. If you're the Chargers, quick passing game needs to be elite. This Colts defense has been pretty good all year. They have a good front seven. They have a good pass rush. Your offensive line is hurt. You need to have that quick passing game going, getting the ball out quick to your receiving weapons. Can you find rush game success? Yes, they were able to run the ball against Miami, but that's one of the easiest things to do in the NFL. This Colts defense, completely different defense with a good front seven. They're going to need to find some rushing success. Can they do it against a much better team this week? If they can, I think they have a real chance to win. And they need to shut down the rush game on defense. This Colts is a run-first team. I don't care what anybody says. You'd much rather have Daniel Jones have to beat you by throwing the ball in the air than Jonathan Taylor beat you on the ground. And if you are the Chargers, you need to stop Jonathan Taylor on the ground. Which I would argue the Chargers had a little bit of trouble against the rush last week. But Miami also became a pass-happy offense late. So who really knows? It was hard to get a read. Shut down the run game if you're the Chargers. Don't let Taylor be the guy that beat you. If you're the Colts, continue to run the ball. This Chargers, you have a really good rushing offense. I think this Chargers rush defense can be had a little bit, even if they are focusing on you in your run game. Continue to run the ball well. I think that is what this whole team kind of centers around. Use defensive front to dominate game. They have some great pass rushers, some good run stuffers. This Chargers offensive line is still going to be super banged up heading into the week. They need that defensive front to dominate and make it hard for the Chargers to score. And they need to win the turnover battle. The Colts have been really good at winning the turnover battle, forcing turnovers. They've been very good at not turning the ball over. Win the turnover battle. Give yourself an advantage with field position and things like that. And the Colts could very well be on their way to winning. And in fact, I do think the Colts get the upset and win this game. Another 4 o'clock game out in the AFC West. Broncos hosting the Giants, where the Broncos are 7.5 point favorites. Let's get into it. I really don't have too much to say on this one. Broncos make life difficult on rookie quarterback. He's kind of been every other game so far. This is by far the best defense he's going to face, in my opinion. Make it difficult. Confuse him. Make the coverages. Disguise the coverage as well, rush the quarterback well. I think the Broncos can do that. Continue to dominate line of scrimmage on defense. Take away the run game. This Broncos defense is so good against the rush and the pass, and it starts with the line of scrimmage. Take away the run game. Take away the pass game. Get in Jackson Dart's face. And I think they can get some turnovers off of that. And run the ball well. This Giants defense can be had on the ground. The Broncos can run the ball very well. That's what they prefer to do. They do it well. Run the ball well. Play really good defense. Just play old school smash mouth football if you're the Broncos this week. And if you are the Giants, keep it simple against elite defense. I think Darts already might have some trouble figuring out some disguised looks and coverages. Keep it simple against that defense. It'll be helpful for him. Score touchdowns in the red zone. The Giants have a kind of a low percentage this year. They're not going to get a lot of opportunities down there, so when they do get down there, they're going to have to convert and make Denver throw it. You can't let them get their defense to get rest by running the ball, taking a whole bunch of time off the clock. This Denver offense wants to run the ball first, take it away, make Bo Nix be the guy that beats you. I think the Broncos win this one, and they win it semi-handedly with the young quarterback on the road against an elite defense. Cardinals hosting the Packers. Packers are 6.5 point favorites. Let's get into it. The Cardinals need to force turnovers to have a chance. This Green Bay offense has turned it over a little bit more than it should at times, I think. Force some turnovers, get your offense set up with good field position. Find success in the passing game. This Green Bay defense is top 10 in a lot of metrics, but I don't think Arizona is going to be able to run the ball too successfully this week. I think they're going to have to find some success in the passing game, regardless of who the quarterback is. And they need to take away something defensively. The Green Bay can run the ball well, they can throw the ball well. Arizona's kind of middling in both categories on defense. Not bad, but not great either. I think that this Cardinals defense has to take away something and make Green Bay become one-dimensional. Green Bay, Jordan Love needs a good passing game. This Cardinals pass defense can definitely get got. Find a good pass game. Shut down the rushing offense from the Cardinals. I know they can do a little bit of both. I don't care if Kyler Murray is playing, regardless of who the quarterback is. Shut down the rushing offense. I think the Packers' passing defense is a little bit better than their rushing defense, and they would rather be facing the pass. And you got a shiny new weapon in Micah Parsons. You might as well use them. And then get to the quarterback. I just said regardless of who it is in the rushing, regardless of who the quarterback is in the rushing game, same thing. Get to the quarterback, get him sacked, get him behind the sticks. I think the Packers will be able to do it. I see a world where the Cardinals keep this game close and even win. Like I said, the Cardinals are just so streaky, it's hard to get a read on. The Packers do have a couple games this year where their defense was a little bit leaky, but I think the Packers are better at most areas of this game. The Cardinals keep it close for a little bit, but the Packers should win. Sunday, 4 o'clock, the Cowboys hosting the Commanders, and the Commanders are 1.5-point favorites on the road. Let's get into it. Cowboys, rush defense needs to show out. Commanders have one of the best rushing attacks in the league. The Cowboys don't have a very good defense, rush or pass. The rush defense needs to show up and take away what Washington wants to do. Offense needs to keep scoring. You got probably the best offense in the league. Keep it going. Keep scoring. Score, because your defense isn't going to get a lot, probably won't get you a lot of stops. And passing offense continues success. I think that this DC passing defense is not the best. I think it can definitely be got. And the Cowboys offense is definitely an offense that can take advantage of something like that. And if you're the Commanders, run the ball first. The best way to take care of a good offense, keep him off the field. This Cowboys defense isn't very good. You're good at running the ball. Run the ball. Keep the Cowboys offense off the field. See if you can take away the passing game. I know that they've struggled with it at times this year, but the Cowboys want to throw the ball first, in my opinion. Not that they can't run it, because you can't have a number one offense without both passing and running, but make them beat you on the ground. Don't let them beat you in the air. And continue good red zone play on defense. Look, even if you give up yards, if you force field goals instead of touchdowns, that's going to help you out significantly. I think this DC team can force Dallas to kick some field goals in the red zone. They've been good at it all year this year. But in the end, I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I think eventually their passing offense is going to be too much for the Commanders. And I think that the Cowboys are going to score enough to where their defense gets just enough stops in a very close game. And I think the Commanders lose a close one just because they can't keep up with Dallas's offense. Moving on to another top 5 game of the week, Sunday Night Football. Some great primetime games this week. The San Francisco 49ers hosting the Atlanta Falcons as 2.5-point favorites. Let's get into it. If you are the 49ers, they need to get the run game going, even if it isn't Christian McCaffrey. C-Mac, as I like to call him. I know some guys call him CMC. I'm going to call him C-Mac. I digress. 49ers need to get the run game going. It has been atrocious. They're supposed to be a run-first team, right? Isn't that the whole thing about Kyle Shanahan? The run offense is always really good, and it sets up the pass. The play-action game is strong. They have to figure out a way to get this run game going because it hasn't been very successful early on. And this Atlanta pass defense is really good. They need to be better in the red zone. This 49ers team is not good at all in the red zone on offense. You have to take advantage of your opportunities when you go get down there. How much have I said that today? 49ers are another one of the culprits that needs to start scoring touchdowns instead of field goals. And they need to shut down Atlanta's run game. Atlanta has the best run game, the best rushing offense in the entire league. They have a great 1-2 combination. Bijan Robinson is absolutely ridiculous. The Falcons you have to shut down the Falcons' run game or you're going to have a hard time beating them. The 49ers are a little bit banged up on defense, and their starting linebacker, who's one of the best starting linebackers in the NFL, is obviously not going to be in this game. Wishing the best to Fred Warner. So they're going to have to find a way, at least, even with some injuries, to shut down this Atlanta run game, or it might be a long day for San Francisco. If you're Atlanta, continue to limit mistakes. I think they're very good at limiting turnovers for the most part. I think they're good at limiting penalties. Both of those things go a long way. Just not having playing mistake-free football sometimes can be enough to get you a win. Atlanta needs to do that this week. Run the dang ball. 49ers passing defense is better than its rushing defense. They can definitely be got. Run the dang ball. Keep it on the ground. You have the best rushing offense for a reason. Continue to do it. Your passing defense has to continue to be great if you're Atlanta. San Francisco's, while they've struggled on the ground, which is why you want them to have to run the ball to beat you because they struggle doing it, they've been great throwing the ball regardless of who's back there. You don't want to let them get a groove in the passing game because while your passing defense is second, if in the NFL, if San Francisco is able to start throwing the ball well, that's when their offense has been clicking this year. That's when they score some points. So your pass defense needs to continue to show up and be great. I keep going back and forth. I lean 49ers on this, but I think the Falcons have such a good run game, and they should be able to exploit the 49ers run defense a little bit, where I almost want to pick them, but I'm going to pick the 49ers winning a very close, entertaining game at home. On to the Monday Night Football doubleheader, top 5 game of the week, maybe the game of the week, the Lions and the Buccaneers. Lions, the home 5.5-point favorites. If you are the Lions, be elite offense and in the red zone. They have been elite on offense in the red zone all year. They need to continue to do it because the Bucs will score points, and you can't kick field goals and still beat them. They need to get pass game ready to go against a good rush defense. The Lions are usually pretty balanced on offense, but this Buccaneers rush defense is pretty good. The Lions are going to have to be able to throw the ball and throw the ball well to win this game, and they need to continue to be disciplined. The Lions don't turn the ball over a whole bunch. They don't get over penalized. Usually the best teams are the most disciplined teams. There's usually a strong overlap there. The Lions are disciplined. They're going to have to continue to be disciplined to have a chance against the Bucs this week. If you are the Bucs, better red zone play on both ends. Their defense has been solid, but when they get down towards their own end zone, they're giving up a lot of touchdowns, and they're not always scoring touchdowns on offense. I think that this Buccaneers team needs to convert more on offense, and their defense needs to try and hold back a really good red zone offense on the other end. They just need better red zone play on both ends because it's been lacking on both ends. Run defense needs to show up. This Lions offense has a lot of weapons. They have a lot of ways to beat you. 2 of them in the backfield, and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Rush defense needs to show up. Don't let the Lions do whatever they want. Make them be one-dimensional. And the Buccaneers, again, I just talked about discipline play with the Lions. The Buccaneers are very similar. They very rarely turn the ball over, and they always seem to find a way to win the turnover battle. They're also going to have to be disciplined in that perspective as well to have a chance. Buccaneers did go into Detroit and beat them last year, but this is a new year. Tampa Bay is so banged up. If they're healthy, I think Tampa Bay very easily could win this game, but the Detroit Lions are a little bit healthier. I'm going to trust their offense a little bit more. They're coming off of an embarrassing loss in a lot of aspects. Give me the Lions to beat a banged-up Buccaneers team. And the last game of the week, I'll try to get out of here quickly. I know that I did not keep to my promise. I'm sorry for that. We're still going to be around an hour. But I digress. Let's do this last game. Monday Night Football, 10 o'clock East Coast time from Seattle and Lumen Field, where Seattle is 3.5-point favorites over the Houston Texans. If you're Seattle, defense needs to stop run game. The Texans' passing game has struggled most of the year. They would rather run the ball. They're better at doing that. Seattle's defense needs to stop the run game. Their rush defense needs to show up. They need to get pressure on the quarterback. Kind of to that same extent, Houston's offensive line hasn't always been great, especially in pass pro. I feel like Seattle's pass defense is decent, and I feel like they should be able to get to Houston's quarterback enough. They should be able to get CJ Stroud enough to get sacks. and they can't be one-dimensional. So while Seattle struggles to run the ball against an elite defense, if you're one-dimensional, it's going to make things that much harder. The Seattle passing offense has been really, really good, but Houston has also been good at stopping the pass. They're going to have to keep Houston's defense honest. You don't want a good defense to be able to stack the box. You don't want them to be able to sit there and with 5 defensive backs out there at all times. They're going to have to stay balanced on offense. And if you are the Texans, you also can't be one-dimensional because the Seattle defense is pretty good and will hurt you if you're one-dimensional. But for Houston, it's the other way around. The run game is kind of okay. It's like average, but the pass game is really struggling. They're going to have to figure out how to get the pass game going. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day against the Seattle defense. The O-line needs to show up so they can get success running the ball and so they can protect C.J. Stroud so they're not one-dimensional. So much of this Texans team relies on their offense being good for them to be a good team because the defense is, and the offensive line is hurting the play. The quarterback is hurting the play. They need a passing game because they don't really have one. And last, if you're Houston, this elite defense needs to take away Seattle's pass game. Seattle's pass game has lit up so many opponents. Sam Darnold has looked fantastic. Jackson Smith-Njigba is quickly becoming one of the best receivers in the game. Take away the pass game. Make them beat you with a middling run game, a not very good run game, and there's your chance. I think this game is low scoring for most of the way through, but eventually I think Seattle is a little bit better offensively than Houston. They're at home, and I think that'll pay off for Seattle. Give me Seattle to win. And kind of separate at the end after a close, low-scoring game most of the way. I think Seattle pulls away and wins this one. Here is my summary screen for Week 7. As you can see, the Bills and the Ravens are on bye this week, so there's only 15 games. The Chiefs I have not yet picked to be my lock, so I'm going to block. My lock of the week is going to be the Chiefs over the Raiders. As you can see, I'm giving the Vikings the W. I do have an asterisk there. We've already talked about that. Everything else is pretty standard and should be what I already said, and a nice summary here for you guys, as I always have it at the end for you. Let me know down below how you guys did last week. Let me know your guys' picks for the 15 games this week, and let me know if you guys are having more success than me or not. I feel like this season has been crazy, a lot of unexpected twists and turns. Let me know if you're doing a better job than me at keeping up with all of it. Once again, thank you everybody for taking time out of your days, your weeks, and your lives for listening. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe. Those are the 3 ways to help me the most. Follow me on X. If I get enough followers and you guys interact enough, I'm thinking about starting to do some polls and questions and stuff on there. So make sure you go check that out. Don't have much else to say. Again, as always, find a couch this weekend. MLB playoffs are getting deeper and deeper. Almost time for the World Series. Plenty of good NFL action on, plenty of good college football action on. The NHL has started up. And you guys know my love for NASCAR. While it may not be the most popular sport in the world, you know I got another episode coming for you later this week. So keep your eye out for that. Find a couch, watch some sports. Stay safe out there in this crazy world. Peace out.